Hi, in this video we'll be looking at subtracting fractions with like and unlike denominators. Alright, well here is our first subtraction sum, and we can clearly see that our denominators are the same. So in fact we don't need to do anything with our denominators. Our denominator remains at the bottom as the number 6. Alright, so if they are the same, the denominator over here stays the same. We do nothing with them. However, our numerators we've got to do something with, and we've got to subtract 1 from the 3. So what is 3 subtract 1? And that gives me 2. And the last step over here is very important. We actually need to reduce this fraction to its simplest form. And is it in its simplest form? The answer is no, it isn't, because 2 and 6 are both even numbers, and we know that 2 can go into 2 and 2 can go into 6. So I'm going to do that quickly. So 2 goes into 2 once, and 2 goes into 6 3 times. So therefore my new answer for this particular question is 1 over 3. So 1/3 is the answer for 3/6 subtract 1/6 gives me 1/3 in its simplest form, and that would be correct. Alright, here's another sum for us to do. We have 2 and 1/3 subtract 1 and 2/3. Now note that we have mixed numbers here, so we need to convert these into improper fractions, and their denominators are the same, so we don't have to do anything further. We can simply subtract this improper fraction, once we've done it, from this improper fraction, and then simplify our answer in the end. Sounds very complicated, but let's work through it. So the first step is convert to improper fractions, secondly do the subtraction, and finally we do the simplification. So let's have a look at our first mixed number. I'm going to say 2 multiplied by 3 is 6, and then I'm going to add that 1, so it'll be 7 over, my denominator stays the same, which is 3. Subtract. I'm going to go 1 times 3 is 3, add 2 is 5, so it's going to be 5 over 3. And we can see that our denominators are the same, so I don't have to do anything with the denominators. My denominator can pretty much stay where it is. However, my numerator, 7, subtract 5. What is 7 take away 5? Well, that is going to give me 7 take away 5 is 2. So my answer in this case is 2/3. And I have simplified it as much as I can. Alright, next one for you to have a go at is this one over here. We have 2 mixed numbers, and we can see that our denominators are the same, so pretty much turn them into improper fractions, subtract one from the other, and simplify. Put the video on pause and come back when you're ready to see if you got it right. Alright, well here you go. Here's the sum all worked out for you. So first step is converting this mixed number to an improper fraction. So 6 times 4 is 24. Add the 1, which is the 25. Our denominator stays the same. Subtract. 2 times 4 is 8. Add 3 gives us the 11 over 4. Again, the denominator stays the same. It always stays the same. Equals. 25 subtract 11 gives us the 14, and denominator stays the same. We don't subtract the denominator. The next thing is we need to simplify this particular improper fraction by saying 14 divided by 4. Well, how many times does 4 go into 14? Well, it goes in 3 times. And what is left over? Well, 4 3s are 12. 13, 14, that's the 2 that sits up there over 4. This over here, this little fraction, can be simplified by dividing the 2 by 2 and the 4 by 2. So 2 divided by 2 gives us the 1, and the 4 divided by 2 gives us the 2. So this answer down the bottom is now 100% correct because it is in its simplest form and obviously is correct. Alrighty, so if we have fractions that have different denominators, however, we've got to do something different. We've actually got to convert these fractions into a fraction that has a denominator that is common. Okay, And I already know that 5 multiplied by 2 is going to give me 10. So I'm going to convert this fraction into a denominator that has a denominator of 10. So I'm going to make that denominator 10. And what have I done with 5 to get to 10? Well, I've gone 5 times 2 gives me 10. Remember, it's times, not add. 5 times 2 is 10. So I've got to multiply my 4 by 2. Okay? Subtract 3 over 10. And then coming back to this fraction over here, 4 times 2 gives me the 8 over 10. Subtract the fraction that is already there, which is 3 over 10. Alright, now I can see that I have common denominators. Alrighty, so my next step is to actually do my subtraction. So what is 8 take away 3? Well, 8 take away 3 gives me 5. Alright, but this is not my final answer because this over here is still an improper fraction and can be simplified further. Okay, 5 and 10 are both multiples of 5. So what I can do is I can say, well, 5 goes into 5 once and 5 goes into 10 twice. So my answer, in fact, is going to be 1/2. So 4/5 subtract 3/10 gives me the answer of 1/2, and that would be correct. So if I actually wanted to do this whole subtraction over here, I could actually do this little scarf like we've done in the past. And I'm going to put in 8/10 immediately. So this is going to be my 8/10. So that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And you can see that there's 2 left over, 9 and 10. So that would be my denominator. So 8 has been colored in for my numerator. And I'm going to now subtract 3 tenths from it. All right, so that's 1 out, that's 2 out, that's 3 out. So what do I have left over? I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I have 5/10 left over, which is this value over here. And obviously when we simplify it down, it comes out to be 1/2. And we can see that this scarf is in fact split in half. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on that half side, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sitting on that side. So 1/2 is in fact correct. Right, and finally we have subtraction of two mixed numbers that have different denominators. So the process here is going to be turning these two mixed numbers into improper fractions. Then we need to find a common denominator. Okay, so the lowest common multiple. Then we need to do the subtraction. Then we need to simplify. So that's the various steps sitting on the side here to give you a hand. Put the video on pause and come back when you're ready. Alright, so how did we get on? Well, 2 and 5/6 is rewritten as an improper fraction as 17/6. So 2 multiplied by 6 is 12 plus another 5 gives us a 17, and denominator stays the same, which is 6. Subtract 1 times 3 is 3, add another 2 is 5, and the denominator stays the same. Right, so we've actually converted them to improper fractions. The next thing we do is find our lowest common multiple, and I know that the lowest common multiple is in fact going to be 6, because 3 times 2 gives me 6, so my lowest common multiple is going to be 6. Alright, so 17/6 stays the same because my denominators are going to be 6. So this fraction, nothing's changed with it, subtract. And then this fraction over here, I've multiplied 3 by 2 to get 6. So I've got to go 2 multiplied by 5. That's the 5 in the numerator over there. So that becomes 10/6. I now have denominators that are the same, so I can simply subtract them. So 17 take away 10 gives me 7, and my denominator stays 6. But this is an improper fraction because my numerator is bigger than my denominator, so I divide 6 into 7, and it goes in once, and 1/6 left over, and that would be correct. So I've gone through the whole process of creating improper fractions, which is the step over here. Finding my lowest common multiple, which is the step over here. Alrighty, lowest common multiple. Finding equivalent fractions, which is this one over here. Subtracting which is this step over here, and then simplifying it into its simplest form, which is the last step, and the last step gives us the answer. Alright, well that's pretty much subtracting fractions with like and unlike denominators.